Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. What's up, guys? Pencil here, and here we are to do a quick spoiler discussion for chapter 404 of My Hero Academia, which is known as, I have no idea. Sorry, your boy cannot, and I mean cannot, read raw Japanese. But with that being the case, what's up, guys? Pencil here. Fun fact, I have it on me. I keep it on me at all times. And this chapter is interesting. It's not, there's not too much to talk about. When I mean a quick spoiler discussion, I do mean quick, because I do want to wait more for the official translations. Well, not even official translations. I just want to wait for some sort of translations. But we see that even with Bakugo's resurrection at the end of the last chapter, All For One isn't very perturbed at all. He still has All Might over, ready to just bane him. Which is, once again, it has to be a reference. And once again, it has to be a reference. I think Hori is too big of a comic fan to not know about Bane. The Nightfall storyline, like, I think it has to, that has to be a direct reference. There's no way it isn't. Like, I can excuse him not knowing Avatar: The Last Airbender. Barely. But I can excuse that. But, dog, no, it literally is the same imagery. It's a different angle. Like, it's a more tilted angle than the Bane breaking the bat angle, but you can't fool me, gang. I know what you are. But with that being the case, we see that the chapter actually opens up with a flashback to, once again, what Night Eye said about the cruel end that Toshinori Yagi is going to face at the hands of a mysterious villain. And obviously, one of the biggest things that I pointed out with the business students still recording last chapter is that this is going to be traumatizing for everyone watching. This is essentially All For One taking away the hope of the people, the dreams of the people, with no more than a knee snap. And we see that apparently all over the world, people aren't giving up. Things are acting strange. But even with people giving up, even with people losing hope, even with people giving into the despair that is All For One about to shatter the symbol of peace, there's a weird notion that suddenly things are changing. The wind is blowing strong. And we see that obviously certain things are not allowed to occur. And this is very nice. I wonder how much of this ties into One For All's ability to break fate, and how much of this is what the chapter calls wishing energy, and whether or not wishing energy is simply the culmination of what All For, or not All For One, One For All, or if it comes from something different, if there's this like subconscious flow of fate changing, it's just based on hope. Like, My Hero Academia is a series that is shockingly much more magical. Whoa, chill out. But My Hero Academia is a series that has shockingly ended up a lot more magical than what I thought it would end up. But yeah, this wishing energy seemingly begins to build. And once again, the two rivals who have known each other since time immemorial, essentially, instantaneously sync up. Now that they've realized that in the end that they can do both, Bakugo, standing on the edge of the UA building, just falls forward. And one of the most beautiful panels, once again, even in Raws, even in the most rawest of Raws, I can just tell how good Hori's art is, bro. He's just so different. He's just so different. I don't know how he does it. He makes everything look so scrumdiddlyumptious. It's crazy. But speaking of scrumdiddlyumptious, Bakugo falls forward, shaking, looking just like a model, bro. All shaking the rain off, his beautiful, gorgeous blonde locks. And Midoriya instantly turns. And this is low-key kind of a feat for Midoriya in of himself. He turns, and you see Bakugo lunge. He dies fully off the UA building. And we know this is a Bakugo, presumably if he's still in his, like, third? I think it's third. If he's still in his third awakening state and not having gotten a fourth awakening, then this is a guy who was able to blitz pretty much completed Shigaraki. Or Shigaraki for one. Like, this is a pretty impressive fellow right here. And he lunges in. But Midoriya, while restraining Shigaraki with Black Whip, turns around, goes hand out, and grabs Bakugo. And then, like, this is just crazy. Like, once again, I do kind of wish Shigaraki was doing a bit more, being a little bit more active, though the chapter does a good enough job justifying why he isn't getting all too active. And obviously, once again, It's for the same reason that I mentioned in the previous review. We can't really let we can't really let things get too active with Shigaraki just yet, because there's still other battles, other plot points we need to wrap up. Though admittedly, the All Might plotline is kind of this last one that we need to really kick out the door before we can actually start the real final battle. Because Uraraka's done, Dabi's done, Endeavor's done, Todoroki's done, and all that leaves is literally all for one before we get to the big final battle. So while it does feel a little bit contrived that Shigaraki's not, doing anything but standing there and being restrained despite his immense power, yeah, it is a little bit weird, but still, I can take it. And we get a beautiful reference to Heroes Rising. Admittedly, a movie that I'm still not the biggest fan of to this day. I really don't like the ending. Really don't like the ending of that movie. But with it being the case, we see Midoriya decides to enhance the move they did in that movie, where he grabs onto Bakugo, spins him around. Bakugo uses the momentum of his explosions to guide his arc around, using all that centrifugal. How do you say that word? Hold on. I need to do this. I always struggle with saying this word. How do you say it? It's the centra. Hold on. Centrifugal? Really? Is that it?
Centrifugal
force. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right at all. Huh. Yeah, that's weird. I don't like that. But that centrifugal force, he's building all that up, and I love this. I love how Midoriya and Bakugo lock eyes. Like, they don't even really need to say anything to each other. Like, they know what time it is. And we see the second user, or is it the first or the second? I forget. Well, obviously not the first. It's either the second or the third user. The one with gear shift comes in and he warns Midoriya, like, hey, buddy, I see what you're planning to do here. You want to use gear shift again, but you're already huffing and puffing, and Shigaraki's looking fresh as a daisy, dog. I'm not sure you really want to be doing that. But we see that Midoriya, now that he has someone he can place his faith into 100%, and now that he can do both in a similar vein to... Can I spoil Across the Spider-Verse? Has it been long enough? I mean, it isn't a direct spoiler, but this is something that Mono says a lot in the movie. I can do both. I can protect everyone from Shigaraki, and I can save All Might. Though, admittedly, this goes to show that Midoriya couldn't do both on his own, and he needs the bonds of other people to do both. So he uses gear shift anyway. He increases Bakugo's speed. And we see that this is where fate has to change, because the vestige of All Might starts to fade within the world of One for All. But it very specifically fades in order to be a more realistic one. Remember, the vestige of All Might for the longest time was this wispy, energy-like figure, this much less tangible creature and much more formless and vague, if you will. But as Midoriya throws Bakugo and the vestige solidifies, we see that Shigaraki can even tell that, sorry to Bakugo, but he ain't gonna make it. Not to All Might. Because he, I guess through his connections of All for One and the bond he must have subconsciously established with Midoriya, he's seeing All Might manifest within the One for All of this vestige world. This human-like All Might that's appearing out of the energy-like All Might, it's already appearing there. And Shigaraki can perceive that. So he's like, sorry, Bucko, but obviously fate just declared that your buddy ain't gonna make it in time. And we see that Shigaraki is standing so idly by, watching Midoriya fail, watching Midoriya give up, watching fate take its course, because this is what he's been waiting for his entire life, the destruction of All Might and his legacy. So sure, he can battle Midoriya till the end of time. All that matters now is watching a show he's been waiting for his entire life. And I do like that. Once again, do I think it's a little bit weird that he's not getting all too active and that he let Midoriya even have the chance to save All Might? Yes. But it is in character for Shigaraki to, even though he hates his master, at this point probably as much as he hates All Might, he still is more than happy to see All Might fall. And ultimately, as he says, the end of the man who brought dreams to this world will bring the real world back. So he thinks that this will be the wake-up call for all of creation as All Might's life is lost. And we see Bakugo lunge in on a burst of explosions, all for one, getting closer and closer to just... But Midoriya is covered in light, and we see the wind that blows ever stronger. And we get a mention to the butterfly effect and a wishing energy that goes to show that even with fate seemingly being sealed, even with the future seemingly being written in stone, in reality, the hopes of the people can manifest and change that very fate. And we see that Bakugo Katsuki manages to just barely go all the way. Overriding his guilt, overriding his despair, overriding the fact that in his mind he ended All Might, overriding it all in order to break fate and not just save All Might, but literally tear All for One's arms off. And the vestige inside of Midoriya, inside of One for All, it bursts. It's no longer the human All Might. It's back to the vestige flame All Might. And we see All for One is shocked, looking at his own arms as they regenerate. And Bakugo yells, "We'll win this." So this is interesting. Bakugo's probably going to escape with All Might. I do think Bakugo is ultimately not going to fight All for One right now, and we're going to get All for One chasing Bakugo and All Might. But at least for now, All Might is saved. He is secured. He didn't actually end up perishing to All for One. Admittedly, ironically enough, this kind of speed and velocity that Bakugo's moving at should have taken All Might's life. But once again, no matter how many issues no matter how I would write My Hero Academia, this is how My Hero Academia has been written. The establishment of wish energy and the changing of fate through the power of One for All and the hopes of the people has been long established. And Bakugo getting the moment to save his mentor, to make up for what he thought was his destruction of his mentor through the destruction of All Might, through his kidnapping all the way back at Kamino. This is a nice redemption for the character. This is some very, very solid stuff. The chapter feels short. It's only about 12 pages, but that's mainly because Hori uses a bunch of spreads in this one. Actually, no, not really. I think it's just some of the raws I have are very heavy double page. Because there's only 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there are 3 spreads by the end of the chapter. And chapter looks beautiful. The main thing, All Might's alive, which is nice. It's important. Once again, you know how I feel about the general consensus of the lack of permanence or consequence in My Hero Academia, but with my understanding of the story, with my recontextualization of the story by you guys, I actually do appreciate this. It fits into the storytelling and themes of My Hero Academia. So ultimately, the chapter is in fact worthy, at least based on the spoiler discussion. So, I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, this is a relatively short video though, especially for me. Live might, or live might in the comment section down below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that little notification bell. Make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, I want to thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Wakanda Plays, Red Wolf 4765, and Burp Skills. I'd like to give another very big thank you to our $5 patrons, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, and Demex LND. And I'd like to give a fat, hefty thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, and Idemokami. And I'd like to give another hefty thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. And another big fat scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our $25 patrons, Igneal and Calvin Elder.